So, we all know who lives at the bottom of the ocean. That's right, SpongeBob SquarePants, Patrick Star, Squidward, and the rest of the gang. All of these characters have their real-life prototypes among actual sea creatures. Well, okay, almost all of them. Fine, only some of them. And the truth is, in real life, these animals don't get along nearly as well as in the cartoon. That's exactly what this video is about. We're going to find out who really hides behind those cute faces. SpongeBob SquarePants, the sea sponge. Let's start with SpongeBob. And let's make this clear right away. Yes, a sponge is an animal, not a plant. It has no nerves, no muscles, not even organs, and yet it's alive. In fact, it was these simple organisms that millions of years ago helped clean the oceans, filtering water and making it possible for other life forms to thrive. A sponge's body is like a labyrinth of tiny channels. Millions of cells with little flagella pump water nonstop, like natural pumps, capturing bacteria and plankton. In a single day, a sponge can eat up to 2/3 of its own body weight. And not all sponges are peaceful. Some deep-sea species are true predators. Instead of filtering, they trap and digest tiny crustaceans, catching them with hook-like filaments. Did you know that sponges were used back in ancient times? People applied them to wounds like bandages, made primitive masks out of them, and later even used them in surgery. Today, hundreds of thousands of tons of sponges are harvested. They're used for bathing, cleaning, construction stuffing materials, and yes, even at car washes. And here's a surprising medical fact. The very first effective drug to treat leukemia, cytarabine, was created from compounds found in sponges.
Oh, and sponges can actually sneeze. When debris or sediment clogs their canals, they literally spit out the water to clean themselves. Some deep-sea sponges can live for up to 15,000 years.
But they do have enemies. Dolphins sometimes eat sponges to clean out their stomachs from bacteria, and sea stars are among their main predators, which brings us to the next character, Patrick. Patrick Star, the sea star. And now, Patrick. Behind that friendly smile hides one of the ocean's most unusual predators. Sea stars don't chase their prey. They win with patience, hydraulics, and an external stomach. These creatures are ancient. The ancestors of sea stars appeared more than 450 million years ago, long before the dinosaurs. They survived every mass extinction and still thrive in nearly all the world's seas, from shallow tide pools to the deep ocean. How Patrick moves. Sea stars have no blood and no muscles in the way we know them. Instead, they use a water vascular system. Water enters through a small plate and fills hundreds of tiny tube feet. Each one works like a miniature hydraulic jack. Hundreds of these, moving in sync, push the body forward. Slowly? Yes, but relentlessly. How Patrick hunts. His favorite prey, bivalve mollusks, like mussels and oysters. Many species also feed on sponges, while the infamous crown-of-thorns starfish eats coral. Their trick is brute force patience. Tube feet hold a shell open just a crack for hours. Once there's a gap, the sea star turns its stomach inside out, slips it into the shell, and digests the prey right where it hides, before pulling the stomach back in. Senses without a brain. Don't have a brain, but each arm has a nerve cord, and at the tip is a tiny light-sensitive eye spot. This lets them detect light, chemical signals, and even the contours of the seafloor to find food and shelter. A planktonic childhood. Every sea star's life begins in open water as a microscopic larva drifting with the zooplankton. For weeks or months, it floats helplessly, becoming easy prey for jellyfish, small fish, and tiny crustaceans. Only a few survive long enough to settle on the seabed and transform into a star. Regeneration, almost a superpower. Lose an arm? No problem, it grows back. In some species, even a fragment of the central disk can regrow into a new entire star. In danger, a sea star can even self-amputate an arm to distract predators. Who threatens Patrick? Large fish, crabs, sea otters, and predatory triton snails all attack sea stars. And the larvae are eaten by almost everything in the plankton, from jellyfish to copepods. Ecological role. Some sea stars are ecosystem regulators. They keep mussel, sponge, and coral populations in check, preventing one group from taking over everything. But others are villains. Outbreaks of the crown-of-thorns starfish can devastate coral reefs. So in the real ocean, Patrick is far from a simpleton. He's a slow but formidable predator, winning not with speed, but with persistence and unique biology. And yes, he wouldn't mind dining on sponges. For SpongeBob, living next door to Patrick in real life would be anything but safe. But Patrick has plenty of enemies of his own. His larvae are devoured by jellyfish, fish, and crustaceans. Adults are hunted by giant tritons, sea otters, and big fish. And recently, scientists discovered that even small crabs eat young starfish. In labs, they consumed up to 5 per day. On reefs, crabs may play a critical role in controlling the crown-of-thorns population. And this brings us naturally to our next character, because crabs are not just neighbors of sea stars on the reef, they're also their predators and competitors. And in Bikini Bottom, that means Mr. Krabs. In Bikini Bottom, he runs a fast food joint, but in the real ocean, crabs have a much harsher menu. We've already seen that sea stars happily feed on sponges. Well, crabs eat sponges too. So, if the Krusty Krab actually existed, its specials might very well include dishes made from sea stars and SpongeBob himself. Crabs are a massive group of crustaceans, more than 7,000 species. They live everywhere, from the shoreline to the deepest ocean trenches. Some have even learned to thrive on land, traveling far from water. But wherever they are, crabs are scavengers and predators. When a swarm of crabs passes over the seabed, they leave it scraped clean, devouring everything from dead fish and shellfish to snails, sponges, seaweed, and tiny planktonic animals. In real life, a crab could attack Gary the snail, crushing his shell with powerful claws, or even prey on young starfish like Patrick in his early stages. And they come with plenty of remarkable traits. Crabs don't have teeth in their mouth. Their teeth are in their stomachs, grinding food after it's swallowed. Their eyes are made of thousands of tiny lenses, letting them see almost all around at once, even behind them. They can only walk sideways, but they do it with surprising speed. And if a crab loses a claw, it will eventually grow back, though usually smaller. One story deserves special mention: the red king crab. In the 1960s, it was introduced into the Barents Sea to boost fishing, but instead, it became an invader. In Norway, it earned the nickname Stalin's Red Army for its unstoppable advance and destructive impact on the ecosystem. These giants, weighing up to 15 kilograms, tear fishermen's nets and devour everything in their path, displacing native species. Scientists call them silent invaders, and in Norway, they're both feared and aggressively harvested. At the same time, humans have long found another use for crabs: food. People have been eating them since prehistoric times. Today, the world consumes about 1.5 million tons of crab meat each year. And no wonder, up to 40% of a crab's body is edible meat, rich in protein and vitamins. In Bikini Bottom, Mr. Krabs mostly thinks about money, but in the real ocean, he'd be more like a ruthless cleaner of the seafloor, clearing everything in his path. Which leads to the obvious question: who could possibly stand up to such a powerful predator? The answer is simple: his longtime neighbor and fellow cast member,
Squidward, the octopus. Despite his name, Squidward isn't actually a squid. He's an octopus, and in real life, these creatures are considered some of the smartest in the ocean. They have no bones, their whole body is soft and flexible, which means an octopus can squeeze through even the tiniest crack. But what's even more fascinating is their mind. Octopuses can solve puzzles, open jars, remember routes, and even recognize individual people. Their intelligence is often compared to that of dogs. Of course, the Squidward we see on screen doesn't match nature perfectly. He's drawn with only 6 tentacles instead of 8. The animators made that choice for a practical reason. 6 arms looked cleaner on screen and were easier to animate. But in reality, every octopus has 8 arms, each lined with powerful suckers. They also have a truly unique physiology. An octopus has 3 hearts, and its blood is blue because it's based on copper instead of iron. During a hunt, the heart that pumps blood through the body actually stops, which may be why octopuses tire quickly after short bursts of activity. And they are masters of disguise, able to change both the color and texture of their skin in a fraction of a second, blending perfectly with coral or sand. Their size can be astonishing. The giant Pacific octopus can weigh over 70 kilograms, with arms stretching up to 5 meters across. A neighbor like that in the real ocean would look far more intimidating than the Squidward we see in the cartoon. Octopuses mainly feed on crabs. Yes, Mr. Krabs would be on the menu in the real ocean. Tentacles pin the prey, the sharp beak cracks the shell, and venomous saliva paralyzes the victim and dissolves its armor. Sea stars and sponges don't interest them. They prefer lively, nutrient-rich prey. And while octopuses are solitary animals, just like Squidward, scientists have discovered that sometimes they hunt with fish. Fish often accompany an octopus, pointing out where to move next, almost like extra eyes. This is especially true with goatfish, which scout the surroundings. The octopus leads the group, sometimes even literally giving orders with the tap of a tentacle. These joint hunts can last for over an hour, and everyone benefits. The fish get more startled prey, while the octopus saves energy and finds food more efficiently. At times, it even looks like real cooperation with the octopus as the leader. Still, octopuses remain loners. They don't form families and prefer to live in dens by themselves. Yet in the moments of hunting or survival, they show an intelligence that continues to astonish researchers. In Bikini Bottom, Squidward comes across as a grumpy neighbor, but in the ocean, he would be a dangerous, cunning predator, and for Mr. Krabs, a deadly threat. And with that, we wrap up our underwater journey. Behind those cute cartoon faces are creatures that play essential roles in real life. Some filter the ocean, some regulate populations. Now it's your turn. Tell us in the comments, who's your favorite character from Bikini Bottom? And who would you like us to cover in the next video? Maybe we'll explore other cartoon heroes, or even dive into characters from movies.